Dear children, in the previous chapter, you have learned that woolen clothes are made from animal fibers. You also know that cotton clothes are made from plant fibers. We wear woolen clothes during winters when it is cold outside. Woolen clothes keep us warm. And we prefer to wear light colored cotton clothes when it is hot. These give us a feeling of coolness. You might have wondered why particular types of clothes are suitable for a particular season. In winter, you feel cold inside the house. If you come out in the sun, you feel warm. In summer, you feel hot even inside the house. How do we know whether an object is hot or cold? How do we find out how hot or cold an object is? In this lesson, we shall try to seek answers to some of these questions. Okay? In our day to day life, we come across a number of objects. Some of them are hot and some of them are cold. Now tell me, children, whether the following objects are hot or cold. Ice cream, spoon in a teacup, fruit juice, handle of a frying pan. Your answer is ice cream and fruit juice are cold, and spoon in a teacup and handle of a frying pan are hot, is it? Heat is a form of energy. It makes a substance hotter. Heat cannot be seen by us. We can feel the heat by the temperature effect it produces. When heat is given to a substance, its temperature increases and it becomes hotter. For example, when a utensil is kept on a gas burner, it gets heat. Its temperature increases and it becomes hot. On the other hand, when the heat is removed from a substance, then its temperature decreases and it becomes cold. How do we decide which object is hotter than the other? We often do it by touching the objects. But is our sense of touch reliable? Let us find out. It will become more clear from the following activity. Take 3 bowls. Name it as A, B, C. Put cold water in bowl A, hot water in bowl B, and lukewarm water, that means slightly warm water, in bowl C. Now dip your left hand in cold water in bowl A and right hand in hot water in bowl B. Keep the hands in this way for about 2 or 3 minutes. Now take out the hands from bowls A and B and dip both the hands quickly in water in bowl C, that is slightly warm water. Then you will find that the water in third bowl, that is C, does not feel equally warm to both the hands. To the left hand, which was earlier in cold water, this lukewarm water appears to be hot. But to the right hand, which was earlier in hot water, this lukewarm water appears to be cold. You know that the same water cannot be hot as well as cold at the same time. Actually, here our sense of touch is misinforming us. If we touch a utensil kept on a burning gas stove, it feels to be very hot. We say that the temperature of utensil is very high. On the other hand, if we touch a utensil placed in a refrigerator, it feels to be very cold. And we say that the temperature of utensil is very low. Thus, a hot object has high temperature whereas a cold object has a lower temperature. That is, the temperature of an object is the degree of hotness or coldness of the object. Temperature is measured by using thermometer. A thermometer has a scale marked on it which is used to read the temperature. The most common temperature scale marked on thermometers is the Celsius scale. So the temperature is expressed in the unit of degree Celsius. In the Celsius scale of temperature, the temperature of melting ice is given a value of 0 degrees Celsius and the temperature of boiling water is given a value of 100 degrees Celsius. You know that a thermometer is a device for measuring the temperature of an object. There are two common types of thermometers: laboratory thermometer and clinical thermometer. Both these thermometers are based on the Celsius scale of temperature. Laboratory thermometer as well as clinical thermometer are mercury thermometers. When heat is supplied to the thermometer bulb which containing mercury, the mercury expands and rises in the glass tube of thermometer. This fact is used in measuring the temperature of the hot body. Let us discuss about the laboratory thermometer. A laboratory thermometer is used for measuring the temperature in a science laboratory. It is made up of a long glass tube having a thin bore in it. There is a glass bulb containing mercury which is joined at the lower end of the glass tube. The top end of glass tube is sealed. The whole length of thermometer glass tube is graduated in degrees Celsius. The graduations marked on the tube of a commonly used laboratory thermometer are from minus 10 degree Celsius to 110 degree Celsius. So a common laboratory thermometer can measure temperature from minus 10 degrees Celsius to 110 degrees Celsius. This is called the range of a thermometer. Thus, the range of a laboratory thermometer is generally from negative 10 degrees Celsius to 110 degrees Celsius. We will now describe how temperature is measured by using a laboratory thermometer. Take a laboratory thermometer and hold the thermometer from its glass tube and immerse the bulb of thermometer in hot water taken in a beaker. The bulb of thermometer should not touch the sides or bottom of the beaker. We can see that the shining thread of mercury moving up in the thermometer tube. After some time, the mercury thread will stop rising and stand at one place. Wait till the mercury thread becomes steady. Then read the temperature on the thermometer tube which correspond to the top of mercury thread. This will give us the temperature of hot water. For example, in this picture, the thermometer shows that the temperature of hot water taken in the beaker is 80 degrees Celsius. Let us see the precautions in using a laboratory thermometer. The laboratory thermometer should be held vertically, that means upright, while measuring temperature. It should not be tilted. Then, thermometer bulb should be surrounded from all sides by the substance whose temperature is to be measured. The thermometer bulb should not touch the sides or bottom of the container in which the substance is taken. Do not hold the thermometer by the bulb. Read the thermometer by keeping the level of mercury along the line of sight. Handle the thermometer with care. It can break if it hit against any hard object. Next is clinical thermometer. The thermometer used for measuring the temperature of human body is called clinical thermometer. A clinical thermometer consists of a long glass tube having a thin and uniform bore. There is a glass bulb at one end of the glass tube. This glass bulb contains mercury. Outside the glass bulb, a small shining thread of mercury can be seen in the thermometer tube. The other end of glass tube is sealed after removing air. A temperature scale is marked on the glass tube of clinical thermometer. It has a temperature scale marked from 35 degrees Celsius to 42 degrees Celsius. The clinical thermometer is a mercury thermometer which has been specially designed to measure the temperature of human body. It has two special features. One is, a clinical thermometer has a very short range of temperature from 35 degrees Celsius to 42 degrees Celsius. This means that a clinical thermometer can measure temperatures only from 35 degrees Celsius to 42 degrees Celsius. This short range of clinical thermometer is due to the fact that temperature of human body normally does not go below 35 degrees Celsius or above 42 degrees Celsius. The second feature, that is, a clinical thermometer has a kink, that means a constriction in its glass tube just above the bulb containing mercury. This kink prevents the backflow of mercury into the thermometer bulb. When the thermometer bulb is removed from the mouth of a patient, the kink prevents the mercury level in the thermometer tube from falling on its own. So, even when the thermometer bulb is removed from the mouth of a patient, the mercury thread will keep standing at the maximum level reached. Due to this, we can read the correct body temperature of the patient. Next, how to use clinical thermometer. Wash the thermometer properly with an antiseptic solution. If antiseptic solution is not available, wash it with the clean water. Then hold the thermometer tube firmly in your hand and give it a few jerks so that mercury thread in the thermometer tube falls below the reading of 35 degrees Celsius. Put the bulb of the thermometer under the tongue of the patient and hold the thermometer tube gently. Keep the thermometer bulb in the mouth of the patient about 1 minute. Then take out the thermometer from patient's mouth. Then hold the thermometer horizontally in our hand and rotate it slowly. A position will come when we can see a magnified image of the mercury thread in its tube. We can read the temperature on thermometer tube in the level with the top of the mercury thread. This will give the body temperature of the patient. When we put the thermometer bulb in the mouth of a patient, then some of the body heat of the patient is transferred to the mercury in the thermometer bulb. This heat makes the liquid mercury of the thermometer bulb to expand, due to which the mercury thread is pushed to a higher level in the thermometer tube. Higher the fever of a patient, greater will be his body heat, and hence higher will be the level of mercury, or higher will be the temperature shown by the thermometer. A clinical thermometer cannot be used to measure high temperature because it has been designed to measure only human body temperature. If a clinical thermometer is used to measure high temperature, it will get damaged. For example, we should not measure the temperature of hot milk by using a clinical thermometer. This is because the temperature of hot milk is very high, due to which it will cause a large expansion of mercury in the glass bulb. And since there is no extra space in the glass bulb of clinical thermometer to accommodate large expansion of mercury, the thermometer tube will break. A clinical thermometer has usually two temperature scales marked on its glass tube. That is Celsius scale of temperature and Fahrenheit scale of temperature. The Fahrenheit scale of temperature marked on the clinical thermometer has a range of 94 degree Fahrenheit to 108 degree Fahrenheit. The normal temperature of human body on Fahrenheit scale is 98.6 degree Fahrenheit. The normal temperature of human body in degrees Celsius is 37 degrees Celsius. It do not mean that each and every healthy person should have a body temperature of exactly 37 degrees Celsius. It could be slightly higher or slightly lower than 37 degrees Celsius. So as long as a person is healthy, he should not worry even if his body temperature shown by clinical thermometer is slightly higher or lower than the standard body temperature of 37 degrees Celsius. Then, precautions in using a clinical thermometer. The clinical thermometer should be washed before and after use. Before using the clinical thermometer, we should ensure that the mercury level in its tube is below 35 degrees Celsius. Rate the clinical thermometer by keeping the level of mercury along the line of sight. It should never be held by the bulb while reading it. Then, handle the thermometer with care. The thermometer can break if it hits against some hard object. If we look at the scale marked on the clinical thermometer tube, we will find that the temperature difference indicated by 37 degrees Celsius and 38 degrees Celsius is 1 degree. We can also see that there are 10 small divisions between the 1 degree temperature. Since 10 small divisions represent 1 degree Celsius temperature, therefore, one small division represents 1 by 10 degree Celsius temperature. Thus, with a clinical thermometer, we can measure the body temperature accurately up to 1/10 of a degree. See children, a similarity between clinical thermometer and laboratory thermometer is that both are mercury thermometers. The difference between a clinical thermometer and laboratory thermometer are as follows. The clinical thermometer has a very short temperature range, whereas a laboratory thermometer has large temperature range. Then, the clinical thermometer has a kink in its tube to prevent the backflow of mercury into the bulb, whereas a laboratory thermometer has no kink. The clinical thermometer measures temperature more accurately than a laboratory thermometer. A laboratory thermometer cannot be used to measure the human body temperature. This is because as soon as we take out the bulb of the laboratory thermometer from our mouth, the level of mercury in its tube will start falling quickly due to cooling of its bulb by air. And to prevent the falling of mercury, there is no kink in the laboratory thermometer. This will give a wrong value of the body temperature. Most of the common thermometers are mercury thermometers, which use a liquid metal called mercury. Mercury is a toxic substance and hence it is very difficult to dispose safely if a thermometer breaks. So there is a lot of concern over the use of mercury thermometers. These days, digital thermometers are available which do not use mercury. Another type is maximum and minimum thermometer. The maximum temperature of the day usually reaches in the afternoon, whereas minimum temperature usually occurs in the early morning. In weather forecasting, the maximum and minimum temperatures of day reported in weather reports in TV and newspapers are measured by the maximum and minimum thermometer.